It's time for the ultimate battle of good versus evil. In one corner, you got Superman, who stands for truth, justice, and the American way. In the other, you have the Homelander, who, definitely doesn't share those values. Amazon's comic adaptation The Boys gives viewers a chance to see a radically different type of superhero. The show follows a group of vigilantes as they take on the super quote-unquote hero group known as the Seven, who are led by the all-powerful Homelander. Now, Homelander is an obvious stand-in for Superman, with a seemingly similar background and skill set. But now here's the big question. Could Homelander actually beat the Man of Steel? I think he actually could, and this video is gonna explain how. We all know Superman's like the gold standard for superheroes. He's perfect in just about every way imaginable. He's the type of hero that makes you wonder why any criminal tries to commit a crime anywhere near Metropolis, right? When his home planet of Krypton was on the brink of destruction, his loving parents sent little baby Kal-El to Earth, where they knew that because of some mumbo-jumbo with our son, he would basically be like a god here. But did they know just how powerful he actually would be? Like, sure, maybe they knew that he would be strong and could fly around, but did they also know that he would be fast enough to challenge other actual speedsters to foot races? Did they know that he'd shoot laser beams out of his eyes that could melt almost anything? Did they know about his super hearing, the X-ray vision? Did they know that he could have ice breath? I mean, come on, I don't think they did. But no matter what they knew, Kal-El arrived on Earth, and because he was thankfully found by kind farmers in Kansas, he grew up to be Earth's greatest hero. But does Superman have major weaknesses that could see the Man of Steel be beaten? Absolutely. And if he goes up against someone strong and truly despicable, then Superman might not walk away from that fight. And that brings me to Homelander, the all-powerful, incredibly dangerous leader of the Seven, a superhero group very similar to the Justice League with a few minor differences here and there. Like, one difference is that where the Justice League would do everything in their power to save a falling airplane and all of its passengers, the Seven would gladly let them all perish if it meant getting good publicity. Yeah, they're not really great heroes. Well, okay, that's a little bit unfair. While a majority of them aren't great heroes, there are people like Starlight who do actually want to make some good in the world. And while other members like the Deep and A-Train have proven to be human garbage, Homelander is really the worst of them all. Although he looks like the all-American hero you'd read about in a comic book, the actual truth about Homelander is downright terrifying. To your everyday citizen, Homelander sounds very familiar to anyone who's ever read a Superman comic before. The general public believes that Homelander is a humanoid alien who, as a baby, fell from the sky in the Midwest and then was raised by hard-working, honest American farmers, who helped him grow into the greatest superhero in the world. That sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? Maybe that's why it sounds so comforting. But we all know it's a lie. Everything about Homelander's backstory was manufactured by Vought International, an incredibly powerful conglomerate that basically runs the world. Homelander's real story isn't all sunshine and rainbows. You see, Vought International wants to create their own legion of superheroes that they could control. So Vought International started experimenting with this incredibly dangerous drug called Compound V. This was how Homelander came to be. He was raised in a lab. Because of the side effects of the drug, plus not having a proper mother figure, he turned out deeply disturbed. And to top it all off, he's incredibly powerful, with a whole range of superpowers. So now, a deeply disturbed psychotic lab experiment is now the strongest person on Earth? What could possibly go wrong? And when I say he's the strongest person on Earth, what exactly do I mean? Well, he's got a whole range of abilities that, because he's evil, are very, very scary. Of course, he has superhuman strength and is currently rated as the strongest person on Earth, though he doesn't seem quite as strong as Superman. In the show, there's a really twisted scene where a hijacked plane is crashing and Homelander says he isn't able to carry it to safety while flying. So he becomes content to let the plane crash with 0 survivors. Now, it seems that Homelander would have potentially been strong enough to carry that plane while flying, but he just didn't want to risk failing in front of the cameras. So his plan B was just to cut his losses and run. It's safe to say Superman would have been stronger in that situation and guided the plane to a landing. But that doesn't mean Homelander's strength should be underestimated. He can still punch through human chests like tissue paper and also throw baseballs all the way from New York to Boston. Homelander's skin seems invulnerable to anything dangerous, meaning he's completely bulletproof and fiery explosions do nothing more than cause a light tickle. He's also incredibly fast. And although he doesn't seem to have ice breath like Superman does, he does have other similar powers, like super hearing, X-ray vision, and heat vision. His super hearing is actually quite incredible, and when he focuses, he can hear things that are miles away. Homelander's X-ray vision is similar to Superman, where it has one major weakness. Whereas Superman can't see through lead, Homelander has an issue seeing through zinc, which is a cheaper metal. But it's Homelander's heat vision that I really want to talk about. Superman has heat vision too, but since he's an actual superhero, you don't see him use it on everyday individuals because, he's a good person. Although it is an ability that's helped Superman out quite a few times while facing powerful villains. We've never really gotten to see what that heat vision would do to a human body. Well, Homelander definitely has answered that question. If you're wondering what a high-intensity burning hot laser beam would do to our fleshy exteriors, yeah, it's not pretty. We've seen Homelander wipe out his enemies by using heat vision, and somebody definitely needed to call a janitor with a heavy-duty mop after that was done. Overall, Homelander has a very similar skill set to Superman, and although it seems a little bit weaker in terms of abilities compared to the Man of Steel, Homelander is still a powerful threat that can't be stopped easily. But even though his powers aren't quite on par with Superman's, I still think the Homelander would ultimately win in a fight. So, now that all the powers have been presented, who do you think could win in a fight? While it's clear that Homelander has almost all the same powers as Superman, only to a slightly lesser extent, could Homelander actually come out on top? Could he beat the unbeatable? I say absolutely, because although I talked a lot about what makes them so perfect, I haven't really talked about what makes Superman and Homelander weak. On a physical level, kryptonite is a total buzzkill for Supes, and that totally stinks for the hero. Think about it. Kryptonite is little bits of his homeworld that weaken Superman because of its radiation levels. Not only is Superman reminded of his home planet that blew up into a million bajillion pieces every time a villain whips out a little bit of kryptonite, but it also makes him physically sick. Also, Superman is powered by our sun. If an enemy was able to manipulate the sun's radiation in a way that stopped Superman's body from receiving said radiation, then that would also weaken him. Both of these are key to beating Superman on a physical level, and although Homelander may not be resourceful or smart enough to do it on his own, don't forget the corporation behind Homelander. Vought International basically runs the world with its business dealings, so do you think that they would let Superman beat up their prized possession? Absolutely not. Because of its massive influence, I could see Vought International easily knowing about and acquiring all fragments of kryptonite on Earth, and using its vast network of scientists to develop some type of kryptonite superweapon. If that was the case, then the Homelander, who doesn't share those pesky weaknesses, could manipulate the situation where he and Vought International weaken Superman, and then Homelander beats him to a pulp. But of course, that's implying that Vought International is around when the two fight. Maybe when these two titans go toe-to-toe, it's on Superman's Earth, where there is no Vought International. What then? Could Homelander still beat Superman without the backing of the world's most dangerous organization? I say absolutely, because Superman's greatest superpower might also be his greatest weakness in Homelander's eye. It's his compassion to the people of Earth. Superman will always do what's necessary to save human lives. I think if a bomb was about to go off and harm civilians and the only way for Superman to stop it was to give up his powers forever, I think he'd do it. Because at his core, Superman is a hero, and that's what heroes do. And on the other side of the coin, Homelander is secretly a black tar pit full of snakes and cockroaches, so he definitely would not make that same choice. Just look at how season 1 of The Boys ended. Karl Urban's Billy was holding someone who he thought Homelander cared about hostage. When Homelander realized that Billy was right and the hostage was a weakness for him, Homelander simply executed the hostage himself. There's more to it than that, but I don't want to get too spoilery. The point is, Homelander doesn't value life like Superman does, and would do whatever it takes to survive. Imagine if the two were punching it out in the world's most extreme boxing match and Homelander realized he was losing. Instead of gracefully giving up, I wouldn't be surprised if Homelander started lasering civilians until Superman gave up and surrendered himself. Yeah, Homelander is that twisted. And it's because he lacks any sort of moral compass, coupled with his amazing abilities, that make him able to ultimately beat Superman in a fight. So, who do you think would win in a battle between these two superheroes? Would Homelander's lack of morals and values give him the edge over the last son of Krypton? Let us know in the comments down below, and please go ahead and tell us if there's any superhero that you could see beating Homelander. Thanks a lot for watching CBR, and we'll see you next time.